Hello, and welcome to traditional Japanese Mahjong, known as Riichi Mahjong. If this is your first time in the world of Mahjong, or if you want to know how to beat Mahjong in any video game, such as Like a Dragon or the Yakuza games, then this video is made specifically for you. This video is a quick and easy to understand tutorial for beginners that will give you all the basic information needed on how to get you to start playing Mahjong today. First, I'll describe the tiles. These function essentially like a deck of cards. There are a total of 136 tiles in the game, and there are 3 suits: the dot tiles, the bamboo tiles, and the character tiles. Each suit has the numbers 1 through 9, and there are 4 copies of each tile in the game, totaling 108 numbered tiles. There are also 7 non-numbered tiles known as honor tiles. These are noted by a Chinese character representing one of the directional winds, east, south, west, or north, or one of the dragons, a red dragon, a green dragon, or a blank tile known as the white dragon. There are 4 copies of each of these tiles in the game as well, totaling 28 honor tiles. The object of the game is to create a complete 14-tile Mahjong hand by collecting 4 melds and 1 pair. So what is a meld? A meld is a 3-tile pattern combination. There are 2 kinds of melds you can make: sequence melds and triplet melds. A sequence meld is a 3-digit sequence of the same suit. For example, the 1, 2, 3 of dots or the 3, 4, 5 of bamboo. You cannot mix and match suits within a meld. All 3 numbers must be of the same suit to qualify as a meld. Sequences also do not loop around. For example, you cannot make a sequence of 8, 9, 1. The second type of meld you can make is a triplet meld, which is 3 of the same tile. Like sequences, you cannot mix and match suits. All 3 numbers in a triplet meld must be of the same suit. For example, a triplet of 2 of characters or a triplet of white dragon tiles. Since honor tiles are not numbered, you cannot make a sequence with them. Finally, a pair of tiles is just 2 of the same tile, such as a pair of 2s or a pair of west winds. Generally speaking, every Mahjong hand will have a pair of tiles. Now that we have the basics out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into a game. We will be using the Like a Dragon video game with the following settings to demonstrate the flow of a game. The game board should now look something like this. Each player should have a starting score of 25,000 points and should have a starting hand of 13 tiles. A typical game of Mahjong consists of 4 players and 4 rounds, where everybody gets to be the dealer at least once. The dealer is the player that starts the round, also known as the east player, denoted by the letter E. Each of the other players will be designated a wind as well, going from east, south, west, and north in counterclockwise order. This is the order of play over the course of the game. At the end of every round, the winds will rotate counterclockwise and the new east player will start the next round. In this game, we are the west player, so we start our turn after the east player and the south player have taken their first turn. There are generally 2 main phases of gameplay. The first phase we will talk about is the build phase. The build phase is where you will work towards improving your hand to get to the end goal of 4 melds and 1 pair. At the start of your turn, you'll draw a tile. Then, determine if you are 1 tile away from making a complete hand. If you are not, then you will need to discard a tile from your hand. When discarding your tiles, you will discard them face up in an orderly manner, going from left to right. If you run out of space, you can start another row of discards. Then, after your discard, the game will continue to the next player in counterclockwise order. So let's look at our hand. We start the game by drawing an honor tile. As of right now, we only have 1 potential meld, the 4, 5, 6, or the 5, 6, 7 of characters. We have no other melds or pairs at this point, but there is potential. Let's discard the honor tile and hope for some better tiles. Now we have drawn the 4 of bamboo. That's a great tile. We can now make a meld of 3, 4, 5 of bamboo. We now have 2 melds ready to go. Let's discard the 9 of bamboo next. As you play the game, either here or any other video game, you might get a prompt to do something like chi, pon, or kan. As a beginner player, you're going to ignore all these prompts and cancel the action, as these actions can potentially prevent you from winning a game. We will just draw tiles to complete our hand. So the next tile we have drawn is the 3 dot. This gives us a pair of 3s, which is great. Every hand needs a pair to make a complete hand. We're getting close to winning now, so let's discard the 8 of dots. Okay, perfect. We have drawn the 7 of bamboo. If we discard the 4 or 7 of characters, we will have 3 melds and 1 pair. Since we have the 5, 6 of dots, that means if we get the 4 or 7 of dots, we will have the complete hand of 4 melds and 1 pair, and we can win the game. We have now reached the state of Tenpai. Tenpai is the Japanese word meaning ready. It is when your hand is 1 tile away from making a complete hand of 4 melds and 1 pair. Once you have reached the state of Tenpai, you are now ready to enter the next phase of the game, which is to declare Riichi. Declaring Riichi is your bread and butter of winning a game of Japanese Mahjong. To declare Riichi, you will first verbally announce Riichi to the table. Then you will discard your last tile. But instead of discarding it right side up like you would normally do, you will discard the tile sideways. If you are familiar with the card game Uno, this is the same concept. You are letting everyone at the table know that you are 1 tile away from winning the game. After discarding your tile, you'll put 1,000 of your own points to the center of the table, and your turn is over. Play will now continue as normal to the next player. In Like a Dragon or any Yakuza game, you will not be prompted to declare Riichi, but if you click your action button, you can make the prompt appear. Now we can enter the Riichi phase. Let's discard the 4 of characters.
Riichi.
So now that you are in the Riichi phase, there are a couple of new rules you need to be aware of. Rule number 1 is that, once you have declared Riichi, your hand is now locked, and you can no longer change the composition of your hand. Meaning that any tile you draw on your turn, if it doesn't complete your hand, must be immediately discarded. Rule number 2 is that once you have declared Riichi, you now have the ability to declare victory. This game will now continue as normal until the tile you need to win the game shows up. And once you look at that, we have drawn the 4 of dots. If during Riichi you draw a tile, and that tile is what you need to complete your hand, you may declare Tsumo, which means self-draw. So we're going to do that and win the game.
Tsumo. Perfect. Riichi.
During a Tsumo victory, you will collect points from all the other players. In this scenario, we've won 12,000 points. You collect half the points from the dealer and a quarter of the points from the other 2 players to total 12,000 points. We won't go over how points are calculated for the time being, as that is another complex beast that I will explain in another video. As a beginner, just focus on understanding that this is how you win a hand. Let's run through another example game and try to get Riichi again. We'll start by discarding all these honor tiles. We currently have a 1, 2, 3 of characters, a 1, 2, 3, 4 of dots, a pair of 9 dots, and a pair of East honors. So we are already pretty close to Riichi. Now that we've drawn the 7 of bamboo, we only need to make 1 more meld. We can do that by making a triplet of 9 dots or a triplet of East winds. We are now in Tenpai and we can now declare Riichi again. Let's discard the 1 dot.
Riichi.
You might be wondering why we need to declare Riichi at all. putting in 1,000 points and not being allowed to change your hand seems like a pretty big drawback in order to declare victory. Well, there's one significant advantage that you get when you declare Riichi. There is actually a second way to declare victory outside of Tsumo. Before declaring Riichi, the only way you were able to improve your hand was drawing and discarding tiles on your own. However, after you have declared Riichi, during any player's turn, if any player were to discard a tile that you need to complete your hand, you can now immediately steal that discarded tile and declare Ron to win the hand. This is the main advantage to declaring Riichi as soon as you can, so that you gain the ability to steal your opponent's tiles for the win. In this case, the West player on our right has discarded the East tile we need to win. We now declare Ron on their tile.
Run! Sweet!
If you remember, a Tsumo victory means you get points from every player. However, during a Ron victory, the player who discarded the winning tile must pay 100% of the points to the winning player. The other players get off scot-free. This is where a lot of the strategy of Riichi Mahjong comes into play. After someone declares Riichi, you are incentivized to pay attention to other players' discarded tiles, because if you're not paying attention, you could be the only player penalized. Since the West player gave me the winning tile, I collect all 8,000 points from the West player. So to summarize the flow of the game, first, draw and discard tiles to build a complete hand of 4 melds and 1 pair. Then, when you are 1 tile away from making a complete hand, declare Riichi. Finally, win the game by drawing the tile you need, or by taking the tile that someone discards after you have declared Riichi. Congratulations! You now know the basics of how to play a game of Riichi Mahjong. You can now start playing any Japanese Mahjong video game or play in person. Roughly 50% of all Riichi Mahjong games follow the process of build a hand and declare Riichi. So although you haven't learned all there is to learn about the game, you have all the tools you need to start playing with moderate success if you follow the steps laid out in the video.
Riichi!
If you found this video to be helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are interested in learning more, please check out my other videos that will provide more in-depth information and rules in Japanese Mahjong. Thanks for watching.